Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It's Thursday, October the 9th. I'm Andrew Gagan. The local market is set to open strongly with ASX futures up 0.4%. Global equity markets rose as tech shares gained, while gold extended its rally above $4,000 an ounce. There was little data for investors to trade on, although minutes from the last Federal Reserve meeting were perceived to be hawkish. On Wall Street, the AI-related megacaps led the gains, boosting the Nasdaq to a new record closing high, along with the S&P 500. Nvidia and Apple each rose, resetting their respective record highs, while shares of advanced micro devices surged. Dell jumped after multiple brokerages raised their price targets on the stock. Joby Aviation slid after the electric air taxi maker priced a $514 million share sale at a 10% discount to its last closing price. There was plenty of movement in the resources space, with the surging price of gold boosting producers such as Newmont and Goldfields. Shares of the silver miners tracked the rising price of the white metal, which hit an all-time high. And shares of the copper miners gained, also on higher red metal prices, with US-listed shares of Rio Tinto and BHP doing well. Well, the world economy has proven more resilient than expected, despite acute strains from multiple shocks. That's according to the International Monetary Fund. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva saying we see global growth slowing only slightly this year and next. All signs point to a world economy that has generally withstood acute strains from multiple shocks. Well, in July, the IMF raised its global growth forecast by 0.2 percentage points to 3% and by 0.1 percentage point to 3.1% for 2026. Meanwhile, Federal Reserve officials agreed at last month's policy meeting that risks to the US job market had increased enough to warrant an interest rate cut, but remained wary of high inflation. The minutes stating that most participants observed that it was appropriate to move the target range for the federal funds rate toward a more neutral setting because they judged the downside risk to employment had increased. Well, off the back of the minutes, US Treasury yields turned positive, with investors showing tepid demand at an auction of 10-year notes. The US 10-year yield was at 4.13%, the 2-year rising to 3.58%. And the US dollar index is up around 1/3% on the day, the Aussie dollar trading at 65.8 US cents. Oil prices are at one-week highs, with the traders expecting a lack of progress on the Ukraine peace deal to keep sanctions in place against Russia, while a weekly report showed growing US oil consumption. Brent crude futures up more than 1% at $66 a barrel. Copper's up more than 0.5%, and iron ore little change at $104 a tonne. And having surged past $4,000 yesterday, gold has continued to climb to around $4,040 an ounce, while silver is up more than 3%, hitting a new record just shy of $50 an ounce, to be up more than 70% since the beginning of the year. And Bitcoin is trading higher at $123,000. Today locally we get consumer inflation expectations for the month, and on the corporate front, REA Group is set to hold its AGM. That is your day ahead. See you again tomorrow.